Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Succeed Without Selling Salon. Today, we are going to be talking about ideal clients. Now, there are clients and there are ideal clients. There are okay clients and there are terrible clients. Now, we don't want the terrible ones, so we have to know what ideal looks like. And the way we figure out what ideal looks like is we think about our best clients. What do they look like? What do we do for them? Why do we feel like they are our best? How do they interact with us? How much revenue do we realize from them? What are all of the characteristics that they have that when they call, we want to answer the phone, that when they email us, we want to email them back. We like to go visit with them. We like to talk to them. We like to help them. Those are the ones that are just perfect. They respect what we do. They value what we do. We earn a decent, revenue and profit from the work we do for them. There's more opportunity to do more work with them. It's just, the list goes on and on. We have to identify what that looks like. And it's not so that that's all we'll do business with, because, the reason why we know what our ideal clients look like is because not everyone is ideal. But part of what ideal client does for us is it keeps us away from the really bad clients. Okay? So these are the ones I like to call, he's a deadbeat. And I think you know who they are. So if I ask you to stop and think about the clients you've had who you really didn't enjoy, hopefully you don't have them anymore. You really didn't enjoy them. You didn't like working with them. They were never happy. They complained. They didn't give you the information that you needed in a timely fashion. What was it about those clients that you just didn't like them? You didn't want to work with them. You didn't want to answer the phone when they called. You sort of, secretly wished they would go away. You might even have fired them. I mean, they could be someone where you just said, okay, that's it. You know what? I cannot help you. And what were their characteristics? Because you don't want to repeat those. When we have an idea of what an ideal client looks like, then we know what we're prospecting toward. But what we also know is who to stay away from and who's okay, who's, Mr. Me Too. So it's okay, that they're not awful. So it helps us avoid the awful. And when someone reaches out to us, we can quickly go through as we're asking questions and we're learning about them. We know what signs to watch out for. We know what would put them in the yes bucket or the no bucket, so that it makes it easier for us to say, I'm not the best resource for you. Sorry. Gotta go. Wish you all the best, but I am not going to be the resource that you need. And that's cool, right? Because the problem with the not so great customers is they take all of our energy, they take all of our time. We're probably not charging them enough. We might even be losing money on the deal. And they're not going to give us referrals. And they're taking up all of this time that we could be using getting really good clients. So it's really, really important that we define what it is that makes an ideal client for us. So, some of the areas to look at: what is the work that we're doing for them, or what is the product that we're selling to them, or products that we're selling to them? How much revenue are we realizing on an annual basis from them? Are there opportunities for growth? Are we connected to more than one person in the organization, if that makes sense? How do they communicate? How well do they pay? Hopefully it's timely. That puts them in the ideal category. How forthcoming are they with information? How reasonable are they? How do they problem solve? Do they refer you to other people or companies, in the same industry? So what are these ideal clients? What do they look like? And you're either working with them now or you've worked with them in the past. That's okay. Now, when you're out prospecting and you've got this persona, and it could be a couple different ones. There could be a couple of different, depending on what you sell, you may have different target audiences for what you sell. That's okay. You can have more than one. You just want to make sure you're defining it really clearly, each one of them, so that then when you are out prospecting, you're making sure that you're getting information around those very things, and you're identifying how close this prospect is to ideal. I said a minute ago, and I'll say it again, everyone is not going to be ideal, and that's okay. Getting the ones that are close, they tick most of the boxes, but not all of them, that's okay. Unless one of the boxes is, a big one, and you can't tick it, then you have to think about it. But when we can identify those things ahead of time, it keeps us away from those bad clients. It keeps us from bringing them in to begin with. Now, does that mean we're never going to get a bad client? I wish that were true. There's the possibility that it's not going to happen and we are going to get a bad client, but we're going to be able to identify that relatively quickly. And then we just have to have a strategy for ending the engagement, changing the relationship, because that is not going to get us further. So if you follow the 80-20 rule, 20% of our clients are going to be ideal. They're going to be fabulous. We're going to love them to death. We're just going to think we are so unbelievably fortunate to be able to work with them. 80% is going to be the next level. It's going to be the Mr. Me Too's. These are the folks who they're pretty close to ideal. They just don't necessarily hit on them, but they are nowhere near the bad. This is how we continue to earn a profit. And so revenue is one thing. And part of the reason why I like talking about ideal client is because if knowing who your ideal client is can keep you from engaging with a prospect and turning them into a client simply because you need the revenue, you're going to be better off. So let's talk about it for a minute. There's revenue and there's profit. You need profit, not revenue. Because if you are bringing in revenue that is costing you money, you are losing every day. And you will not be able to sustain your business. And I know that's, sort of hard, but that's who I am. That's why I'm here. And we need to hear it. We need to be making intelligent decisions in our businesses. So when we know what an ideal client looks like, if it keeps us away from those bad ones, because we can unemotionally determine whether we should be moving forward with a prospect or not, that's the perfect scenario. There's no emotion in it. We're looking at it rationally. We're just looking at the facts. We're bumping them up against what our goals are, what we need in our business, where we're taking our business. And so in a very matter-of-fact way, we can say, thank you for the information. I don't believe we're the best resource for you. We wish you all the best. Have a nice day, and we can move on. Okay? So what does your ideal client look like? If you think about the clients you have are the ones that you have had in the past, who are the clients that you just love or loved? And what are the things about them that made them that way? How much did they appreciate what you were doing for them? How much did they respect you and the value that you were bringing? Did they argue with you about price? Did they provide you with all the information that you needed in a timely fashion? Did they have realistic expectations or unrealistic expectations? And I'm assuming with Ideal Client, they were realistic. Did they communicate effectively with you? Did they answer your calls when you called? Were they forthcoming with information, right? So with whatever it is that you need to know, or did they initiate information sharing? Were there extended opportunities to do business with them? Was it a long-term engagement? Did you work with multiple departments, or offer multiple products or services to them? Were they a client for a long time? What sort of revenue did you realize from them? What percentage of your overall revenue was from them? Now, here's a warning. You do not want, well, I'm going to say it differently. Your ideal client is not the one that is bringing in the majority of your revenue. Okay? That doesn't work, because if they go away, and at some point they'll go away, you're going to be screwed. So that is not part of one of the indicators. That you are making a decent profit, you have a good market, good markup on it, it's reasonable. That's what matters. You don't want any one or two clients making up the bulk of your revenue, because it's dangerous. You want to have a number of clients, so you have a foundation. So if one of them leaves for whatever reason, it's not as big of a hit. It's easier to replace. So that is not one of the characteristics of a great client. As a matter of fact, if you have a client that is, I'm going to say 30% or more of your revenue, you have a problem. They are not an ideal client, and you need to do something about that. So thanks for the comment, Jack. I'm sorry, I'm reading the comment. Jack, I'm curious what an ideal client looks like for you. I appreciate the information about your business. But flipping it around, what does an ideal client look like for you and your business? This is something we all need to do. And if we create a new offering, if we have a new product line or a new service line, we may have a whole other ideal client that comes from that, where we say, okay, well, I've been doing business over here in this lane, and this is what an ideal client looks like. And now I have this product or service, and so it's opening up this lane. Some of the characteristics are going to be the same. How they communicate, how much they value what it is that you do for them. There's certain things that you're always going to look for in a client, but there may be things that are very specific to that product or service that you're going to want to make sure is on your list. Okay, so in my estimation, we have three kinds of clients. We have, I'm a winner, she's ideal, we love her. Okay, and then we have Mr. Me Too. Hey, listen, he's good, we'll take him. He's not necessarily in the ideal category, but he's good. It's good business, it's decent business, it's great foundational work. We're happy. And then we have, he's a deadbeat. And he's a terrible client. And he sucks us dry. He's an energy vampire. He's never happy, complains all the time. He beat us up on price to the point where we aren't making any money. We're spending so much time with him, like an inordinate amount of time with that client, that it's not getting us anywhere. As a matter of fact, it's getting in the way of us being able to do really good quality work. And he's making us sort of not enjoy our work, not enjoy our business. And come on, business should be enjoyable. We should be really in a great relationship with each one of our clients so that this is good. Okay? So take a look at your clients, bump them up against I'm a winner, Mr. Me Too, and he's a deadbeat, and figure out who's where and what are those characteristics on both ends of the spectrum. And then keep that ideal client in mind, because it'll keep you away from the dark side of your spectrum so that you don't end up having any of the deadbeats. Or if you have any, you get rid of them, really quickly, and your business can be more profitable and more enjoyable. Until next time, enjoy, be safe, be healthy, and we'll be back together next week.